Hey everyone, it's me Yana. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I make lifestyle videos and grad school slash post-grad content, but since it's summer, I'm not in grad school, but I'll be going back in the fall. But today's video is a little bit different. I wasn't gonna make this video, but I want to always be open and honest with you guys about like my thoughts and what I'm going through, and frankly there's just so many things going on in the world that it's so hard to ignore and pretend that like everything's great, you know. But I don't know, yeah, life has just been really hard. I'm sure we can all agree. I made some calming chamomile tea so we can just be all, you know, cozy, and this is just gonna be like a rant slash just talking, spilling my thoughts. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts as well if you resonate with this, and if not, it's totally fine. You can watch a different video of mine. But yeah, so grab some tea, some coffee, your favorite drink, a snack, and let's just rant and vent and chat. If you guys don't know, I've talked about it a little bit on my channel, but I am a Christian, and I've been going to church all my life. Literally come from generations of Christians, and yeah, definitely have experienced a lot of church hurt. I also went to a private Christian Baptist school in elementary school, which was very fundamentalist, and just I could do a story time about that because man, that was whack. And then in middle school or high school, I started going to a different church that was more like modern, non-denominational, and I really got super into my faith, and it kind of continued. And then once I started college, my faith was a little more like, I had some years where I was strong in it. I also led one of our Christian club groups on campus, and I was just very in and out of my faith. Like, there were periods where I was like really into it, and other periods where I honestly just wasn't living it out or following it or whatever. And now I feel like I'm having a faith crisis. There were times when I considered leaving the church altogether. There were even times where I considered leaving Christianity, but what always brings me back is Jesus and who he was and how he preaches love. But I just have been really struggling with the church lately, and I'm not talking about any specific church, I'm talking about a church as a whole. And especially within the last few years, I think when COVID started and just seeing the lack of compassion and the political divisiveness and how politics infiltrated church, and that the church is commonly associated with being conservative and Republican, and it's like, if you're not a conservative, like how can you possibly be a Christian or go to church? Or if you're pro-choice, how can you possibly call yourself a Christian? Which people have said that to others, to me, which is very disrespectful. Like, you don't know my relationship with Jesus, you don't know what I've been through, you don't know how Jesus speaks to me, you don't know my journey. So I've just been really struggling, and I've always wanted a community of people, but Christians are some of the hardest people to become friends with, even though we should all be the easiest people to be friends with. But I have had such an issue making Christian friends. And I wanted that not just because like they're Christian, but also because I'm not a partier. I don't drink a lot. I'll drink occasionally, but I just personally, it's just not for me. Totally fine if you do that. But I just wanted people who, you know, had like similar lifestyles, I guess, and just really wanted to fit in with Christians and be accepted. But I just could never find friendships. And granted, like, I could have tried harder to make friends, but they just never, I don't know, they just never, yeah, it just never got to be. But recently I started going to a small group and it's been really good, and I'm hoping that friendships can stem out of that. But yeah, I really don't know. I've just been really longing for community and fighting to be accepted by the Christian church, which I think, why am I fighting so hard to be accepted by people who should be accepting? You know what I mean? I could care less. Like, I just love people. Like, I could care less if you're a Christian or a hardcore atheist or you hate God. Like, I could care less. Like, I will still love you and treat you as an equal. Like, I don't freaking care. I don't care if you're gay. I don't care if, I honestly don't care your ethnicity, culture, religion. I don't care. I'm gonna treat you the same and be loving and accepting towards you always. Like, or at least strive to be, because no one's perfect. But that is something that I want to strive towards. But especially within, as of lately, the whole Roe v. Wade Supreme Court ruling, I'm pro-choice, and a lot of Christians have come for me. Well, a lot of Christians have just vocally voiced their opinions of how people who are pro-choice aren't real Christians and that they're following culture and not the Bible, which I could go into my theological opinions of, you know, like, the Bible doesn't mention abortion ever. Yes, it mentions murder, but it's, I mean, if I think it's in the Old Testament, either Numbers or Exodus, I'm pretty sure it's Numbers, but there was a woman who was hurt by a man and it resulted her in having a miscarriage, and the guy who did it wasn't charged with murder, but he was charged with paying a fee, so it wasn't on the same level as murder. And I'm not saying that I don't value life. Like, I think life is precious, and honestly, I don't think I personally could have an abortion. Again, I've never been in those situations, so I wouldn't know until it happened to me. But yeah, like, I'm not a baby hater. I'm not. And then just people have so much misinformation, thinking that people are using abortions as a form of birth control, which is absolutely not true. And at the end of the day, like, it's people's choice, it's free will. There are other religions like Judaism and Islam, which they don't think that abortion is wrong, morally wrong. Even in the 1970s, like, Southern Baptists were, for the most part, pro-choice. Like, this whole pro-life movement, like, I don't know, people just should dig into the history about it, because, not to mention the fact that abortions have been going on for years and years and years, during Bible times, before that, like, I don't know. And then also we all know, making abortion illegal is not gonna stop abortions. Instead, it's gonna result in women dying. And yes, and it's so much more than that. They're gonna want to restrict birth control. There's already doctors hesitating for care with ectopic pregnancies and all that. And yes, I know it's different state to state. Yes, I know that they are written in that miscarriage treatment and ectopic pregnancies won't be affected, but I mean, there's already stories from women that it has affected, and doctors are hesitating, and people can't get IUD appointments anymore, and it's just a mess. Or there are medications that are abortive, but people who have chronic illness or other conditions need to take that med for extreme pain that they have, but they won't be able to, which just sucks. So it's just so much more than that. And that weekend I was grieving. Like, I grieved the loss, or I grieved how it's going to affect women of color the most and impoverished communities. I grieved because of the women that risk their lives and will die because of it. I grieved because of the divisiveness. I grieved because women's bodily autonomy is being taken away. I grieve because of how the church has responded to this, and literally so many people in the church are celebrating and cheering, and it just feels so wrong. Like, I don't think Jesus would celebrate or cheer. Like, Jesus would be out there comforting the women who are scared and frustrated and upset. Whether or not you agree with them, like, you can't, like, there needs to be a separation of church and state. Like, it just blows my mind. Like, Jesus never tried to force, or he never tried to change the government. He never tried to do any of that. Like, God gave us free will for a reason, to choose him or to not choose him, but we can't hold people who don't believe to the same standard as people who do. Like, it's just not. It's so frustrating. It's just so frustrating. And I could go on and on, and I don't want to argue with people. I'm so done arguing with people. Like, it just, but it's like, I go into church and I feel such heaviness. I feel like this moral pull, like, inside of me. I'm like, do I leave the church? Because I just feel so like I can't even be there. Do I stay in the church and just, like, pull through? Like, is it the enemy attacking me and trying to, you know, divide me from the church and community? But I've been hurt in the past by the church a lot, actually, and I know many people have. And when I think of before, like, the one thing that always held true for me is, like, who Jesus is and who God is. And it's so true how so many millennials are leaving the church, but they're not leaving Jesus. Like, I definitely agree with that. Like, I just, man, it's hard. Like, it's just so hard. And it's like, I don't know, I just feel a moral pull. I want community. I want to be a part of something. But at the same time, it's like, when I go to church, I just feel heavy. I feel like something's not right, you know, and it just breaks my heart. And it's just, this is just me being raw and real. Like, this is my faith struggle right now. And I've been praying, seeking God, reading the Bible. I've been having conversations with people I trust, and it's hard. It's hard, honestly, but I feel like this journey needed to happen. I feel like I really needed to realize a lot of things, and I'm still debating on, like, keeping going or taking a step back. But one thing I do know is I'm not ready to give up Jesus just yet. Like, I'm just not. So at least I have that. I don't know, guys. It's a struggle. And then I wonder, I'm like, is there anyone out there who, like, thinks the same way as me? Is there anyone out there who's a Christian but they're, like, enraged and frustrated and upset and hurting? And then there's all, like, the news, like that 10-year-old girl in Ohio who got raped, and couldn't get an abortion. Like, it's just so, it's just so heartbreaking. Also, I worked with sexual assault survivors in undergrad. It was like a volunteer thing, and that was just like, I just want everyone, before they claim that they're hardcore pro-birth, pro-life, I want each and every one of them to experience working with victims or survivors of sexual assault, because it just infuriates me. So I've always been passionate about that. Like, I just wish we could all just love each other and get along, but it's so hard when, you know, there's human rights at stake. It's just so hard, y'all. And I have like people out there being like, well, like, leave the church, do this, and then other people are like, no, stay, like, fight through this. Or there's some people that say, well, you're being led in the wrong direction, and it's like, I personally don't think I am. Like, I'm, like, in my heart, like, I know that what I think and what I feel and believe, like, I just know that that's right for me. But yeah, I don't know, I could talk about this for hours and hours, because it's just so if anyone else is out there angry, frustrated, grieving, like, I've just had, like, I've been crying most days. I've been just asking God, like, why is this happening? Why doesn't anybody understand? Why are people being so hateful in the church? Why are people putting politics into the church? I don't know, like, why can't we all just get along? Like, that's just what I want. But it's so much more complex than that, and like, I don't think this issue is black or white, you know? Like, it's hard. It's really hard to be a Christian right now. And I don't mean that in the sense, like, I know that Christianity is like a privileged religion and it's the norm and it's what's common, but I just mean it's hard for me right now being a Christian today, when it's like there's just so much happening in the world. But yeah, and I'm trying to, I mean, I'm not perfect either. I'm trying to like educate myself and work on myself and just be more aware, and I don't know guys, it's really hard. But if any of you are struggling, just know you're not alone in this. It's hard right now, it really is, and I wish I had the answers. I wish I knew what to do, but I'm just gonna take it one day at a time, and we'll see where this journey of exploring and figuring out, like, and it's so ironic because the video before this I posted of like how I was getting back into my faith and spiritual health and all that, and now it's just like, okay, back to square one. But yes, I don't know, hopefully someone's out there has things the same way that I do, and even if you don't, that's okay. I still love you. If you don't agree with me, I still love you. If you do, if you don't, I still love you, because we're called to love. So, and you can't, that's another thing, you can't bring people to Jesus by judgment and hate. Like, you need to show love, and like, hate doesn't drive out hate, you know? But anyways, I just wanted to rant. I don't know. But yeah, if you guys have any thoughts, if you want to vent too, I'm always here. You can DM me on Instagram. You can feel free to share in the comments if you feel comfortable. Please be nice. Anything that's negative will be anything that's attacking somebody will be deleted. But yes, but thank you guys for listening. Thank you for supporting and subscribing and watching my videos. But yeah, I hope you all enjoyed. But yes, take care of yourselves, everyone, and I will catch you all in my next video. Bye guys.